In this tutorial, I will show you how to set the correct permissions for peaks. In order to work correctly, peaks will need read, write, and modify permissions on the peaks installation folder, your peaks project folder, and the folder in which your raw data is stored. We recommend that all new users check that these permissions are enabled before using peaks. If some of these permissions are missing, then you may see error messages when you try to load data into peaks, when you try to start a new analysis, or when you are in the middle of an analysis. First, let's set the permissions for the peaks installation folder. Navigate to the location in which you have installed peaks. For me, that is on the C drive. Find the correct peaks folder. I'm using a fresh installation of peaks 12.5 for this demonstration. Right-click on the folder, choose Properties, and then Security. Click on Users. Notice that modify and write permissions are not allowed for the users. We need to change these permissions to allow. Click on Edit. Choose Users again. It is very important that the permissions be added specifically for the users. Under Allow, check the Modify and Write boxes. Click OK. Now we can see that modify, read, and write permissions are allowed for the users. Depending on your institution's security settings, you may not be allowed to change these permissions on your own. If this is the case, then you will need to reach out to your institution's IT department to have them change the settings for you. Next, find your Peaks Projects folder. By default, this should be found in your Users folder, unless you have set it somewhere else. Follow the same procedure as you did for the installation folder. Right-click, Properties, Security. This time, as we are in the User folder, you want to click on the user's name. In my case, permissions are already set here. If they were not, then you would just click Edit and add the permissions the same way as before. Finally, let's go to the folder that our raw data is stored in. We recommend that your raw data be stored on a local drive and not a network drive prior to loading into peaks. This decreases the chance of there being access issues. If you have multiple subfolders with different sets of data, then you only need to set permissions on the main folder. Right-click, Properties, Security, choose Users. We can see that there's missing modify and write permissions. Click Edit, click Users again. Add the modify and write permissions, click OK, and then OK again. Now we can see that permissions were set on the subfolders as well. See, under Users, modify, read, and write permissions are on the subfolders as well. We are now finished with setting the permissions needed for peaks. Be sure to close and reopen peaks before starting a new analysis to make sure the new permission settings take effect. We hope you found this tutorial helpful. For more information about peaks, please visit our website, bioinfor.com. Thank you for listening.